Hey all you Nintendo Switch fans, welcome back to another eShop Deals video. My featured deals today are all going to be $5 and under, but the sizzle reel will include a myriad of prices, so make sure you check out those information cards for prices. So let's jump into the deals. Alright, our first two games are Bleed and Bleed 2. These are both acrobatic-focused run-and-gun shooters. They're quite straightforward, they throw you right into the action, the story is minimal if there is any. But if you love crazy, hectic, and super challenging run-and-gun games, you are really going to like both of these. They both have co-op, which of course is a big plus for this kind of genre, and they both have unlockable characters, which will change up the way the game is played. The main campaigns in both of these games are fairly short, but they do have some challenge modes and some arcade modes and boss rush style modes, so there are reasons to go back and unique ways to kind of revisit the game. They are both currently 75% off, which puts Bleed at $2.99 and Bleed 2 at $3.74. Do be forewarned though, there is a bundle that has both of the games. It's not currently on sale, but it does also go on sale frequently. And when it does, it's only a little bit more than $4. So if you're looking at these and thinking, yeah, I definitely would enjoy these, I would go ahead and go find that bundle, wishlist it, and wait for the sale. Because again, that's only about maybe 50 cents to $1 more than just buying Bleed 2. All right, our next game is Butcher. In Butcher, you play as a cyborg that has been sent to wipe out the remnants of humanity. So the goal is very simple, kill everything. This game is super challenging, super tough. The default mode is hard mode. This game has often been described as Doom 2D, which I think is a fairly apt description. It is, again, it's very fast, chaotic. The game has a very similar vibe, even though it is all pixel art. And the musical accompaniment is very Doom-like, very loud, thumping metal music. I do want to reiterate very strongly, though, that this is a super tough, challenging game. This is definitely for the gaming masochists out there. I'm a big fan of the art style, though. I really enjoy games with pixel art where your character is very tiny and you get this sort of feeling of a really big environment around you. You don't see a lot of games that adopt that art aesthetic, so I really appreciate when I get to see one like that. Butcher is currently 70% off for $2.99. It has gone on sale a couple of times for $1.99, so you could wishlist it and wait. But I think for that price, it is a really good deal. And again, if you like challenging run-and-gun games, you're going to really enjoy this one. All right, going from that to a completely opposite style experience, we have Inbento. This is a puzzle game where you are essentially playing as a mom cat to a little baby cat, and you are making bento boxes for its meals. So it's a puzzle game where you are taking the ingredients for a bento box, and they're like in square-like grids, and you have to match an image of what the bento box is supposed to look like when you're done with it. The game is just super chill, super relaxing, a great game to just unwind with, very low pressure. But there are definitely some puzzles that are real head scratchers, so I'm not saying it's easy, but it's very friendly and light feeling. And Inbento is currently matching its previous low for 50% off for $2.49. I really enjoyed this one. All right, our next game is Mousecraft. If you like Lemmings and Tetris and you think that those sound good being mashed together, then you're gonna really like Mousecraft. In Mousecraft, you play as this scientist cat who is putting all these mice through these little trials. So you're placing Tetris-like blocks in puzzle-style formations to eventually make a pathway for these mice to get to their goal, a la Lemming style. Not a lot more to say. It's very straightforward what the concept is, but it has a really nice, clean art aesthetic, a little bit of personality flair to it. It's really fun to see the cat scientist in the background as he's sort of looking upon these experiments. So it definitely adds a bit more character to what just really is a sort of light puzzle experience. Mousecraft is matching its previous low for 80% off for $1.99. It's never going to go lower than that, so if you like what you see, now's the time to pick it up. All right, next we have another duo of games. We have Conduct Together and Fly Together. The concept in both of these games are fairly similar. In Conduct Together, you have trains, and you have the ability to sort of switch the tracks and guide the trains in the direction they need to go. Same thing in Fly Together, you're mapping out the routes of where the planes need to go to get to their destination. The big twist of these games, though, is they do have co-op and competitive multiplayer. Conduct Together has up to 4-player co-op, and Fly Together also has up to 8 players. So in Conduct Together, you're going to be working together as a team to make sure that these trains get where they need to go. And Fly Together has more of a competitive mode where you're trying to sabotage the other players and make so that they can't get their planes where they need to go with different elements you can kind of throw at the planes like asteroids and other crazy things. These games do have a very clean sort of mobile game look, so they might not look exceptional to you, but I will tell you that the reviews are extremely solid for both, Conduct Together having an 80 on Metacritic and Fly Together an 81. And user review scores are also very high for both games. So these are definitely some really fun little hidden gem co-op and competitive games. They are both currently 90% off for $1.99, matching their previous low. Not a huge rush on these games. They do go on sale semi-frequently, about once every 3 months. But if you're impatient and they look good to you, now would be the time to get them. All right, we're moving on to another game. It is Breakpoint. I've talked about Breakpoint before. It's basically if you took Geometry Wars, took away shooting, and added melee weapons. So you're playing as a Geometry Wars style ship, but instead of shooting, you've got swords and axes and spears, and they all play very differently from each other. It has a very satisfying feeling where you gather enemies together and then you take large swipes of them and taking out a bunch of these little Geometry Wars style enemies all at once. You can also throw your weapon smashing into all the enemies. This is just a super underrated Geometry Wars clone, but then again, like I'm pointing out, it's not really a clone, it's really a sort of a twist on the formula. This is just another one of those games that I go back to again and again when I can't think of anything else to play. It's just super fun to jump in and play for about 20 to 30 minutes. And it is currently matching its previous low price for 58% off for $2.09. All right, next we have Omega Strike. Omega Strike is a game that comes from Wobblyware. I really love Wobblyware. I think I like all their games. They're all real simple, retro-style throwbacks. But Omega Strike is basically just a small little micro Metroidvania. You can switch between 3 characters, has a lot of the Metroidvania tropes, a big open world to explore, lots of secrets, lots of upgrades. I really enjoy the subgenre of these sort of micro Metroidvanias. I love Metroidvanias, but they are such a big time investment. So I love these smaller ones that you can get done in about 5 to 6 hours. It's really fun, still very satisfying, and you don't feel like you have to invest 40 to 60 hours in a game. This one does go on sale very often, so no big rush on this one, but if it looks good, now is just as good as the time to pick it up. And Omega Strike is currently 75% off for $3.74. All right, next we have Bonkies. Bonkies is a simple couch co-op game. You play as little monkeys in these UFO devices, and you are picking up objects and trying to build these shapes together. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Snipper Clips, how in Snipper Clips you'd have to clip each other and try to fit into a shape. There's also another game called Part-Time UFO, which I've played on this channel before, so it has strong vibes that are similar to that game too. Not a lot more to say about it. It is very surface level. What you see is what you get, but it is a fun little couch co-op game. I think its normal asking price is definitely too much, so it's a good time to pick it up on sale. And Bonkies is currently at its lowest price ever, and it is by far its lowest price ever. It is 80% off for $2.99. Absolutely worth it at that price. You're going to have a lot of fun for that amount of money. All right, our next game is Jetboard Joust. The simplest way to describe Jetboard Joust is Defender plus a roguelike. So you play as a little dude on a jetboard, and you are defending these various planets from these invading bugs. So you have to protect the civilians from getting captured, and you'll be taking on all these baddies, and every planet has a unique boss. This is just a really fun little hidden gem that I think kind of flew under the radar, and I think you're going to be really pleasantly surprised. Do keep in mind, though, it is very similar to Defender. You're going to need to enjoy those old school arcade style shooter games. Jetboard Joust is currently matching its previous low for 50% off for $4.99. All right, our next title is Kuukiyomi Consider It. I hesitated about putting this game in the list because it is a very quick one and done experience, but my kids just thought this game was really hysterical. They often ask me to put this game on and play it so they can watch me play it. Basically, this is a WarioWare style game, but it's all about adopting correct Japanese manners for social situations. Very difficult to explain. It's very strange, but you basically are quickly shown these different scenarios, and you have to take your character and choose what is the correct way to respond. So if you don't live in Japan, you're going to feel very much like a fish out of water. There's going to be multiple experiences where you're like, okay, wait, why would you choose this over that? But it is a fun game to sort of learn about Japanese culture, especially some of the strange little quirks about the way they socialize. But again, I do want to reiterate, this is a quick one and done game. Like, you might spend an hour playing it. It is currently 50% off for $2.49. If you end up enjoying it, it does have 2 sequels on the Switch, so there is more to check out if you do enjoy this one. All right, next we have Knights and Guns. If you like the old Super Pain games where you would have to bust the bubbles as they're bouncing around, this basically takes that arcade concept, but applies it to a game where you are playing as knights with guns taking on invading aliens. It's really goofy and silly, but really fast-paced and fun with great art aesthetics. It does have co-op, so you can bring along a friend to enjoy all this crazy action co-op fun. It is also non-linear, meaning you can sort of carve out your own path as you choose from the overworld map where you're going to go. There's lots of guns and suits of armor you can collect for your character. For being a simple arcade experience, it really is a fairly meaty game with a lot to explore and discover. And thankfully, Knights and Guns is at its lowest price ever for 83% off for $249. Never been a better time to get it. All right, next we have Goblin Sword. Goblin Sword is a 16-bit style throwback. It's basically a platformer with some light RPG elements. You just go on level by level, taking on hordes of evil monsters, all kinds of cool boss characters, and eventually this evil wizard that is attacking your land. So again, has some light RPG elements, just sort of collecting weapons and upgrading a little bit. But overall, it is a very straightforward throwback style action platformer. So it is pretty on the nose. What you see is what you get, but if you're a fan of those old SNES style games, you're going to really enjoy this one. And Goblin Sword is matching its previous low for 60% off for $1.99. All right, next we have Mini Motor Racing X. The main bulk of my experience with this game is actually from the mobile version. I have put countless number of hours into playing this game on my phone. A simple top-down old school arcade racing game, but it's all done with a really clean, slick visual presentation, fun and light and cartoony feeling. I really enjoy the physics of the cars in this game, the way they sort of drift through the turns. It's really satisfying feeling. The Switch version does get some upgrades over the mobile version, including some new camera angles, one of which even includes being inside the car now, so that totally changes up the way the game is played then. The game does feature 4-player, online and offline versus modes. There's tons of tracks, tons of cars to unlock. It is a very large experience for such a simple looking little racing game. And Mini Motor Racing X is matching its previous low for 90% off for $1.99. It is an absolute steal at that price. All right, next we have Lichtspeer Double Spear Edition. This game has a very unique art aesthetic, sort of a retro futuristic kind of look. But in this game, you play as a Germanaut, and you are taking on hordes of strange creatures that march towards you in waves. You fight them off with your Lichtspeer. It's very straightforward. You just sort of aim and adjust the speed and angle at which you're going to throw them. You toss the spears and take down the enemies. This game is very simple and straightforward, but it's just super enjoyable to throw the spear at these guys. You'll get enemies that basically have like a shield and just a tiny bit of their head is showing, and it just feels amazing to throw a spear and just get it right in their head. So this game is a constant stream of those kind of moments where you really have to be precise with your aiming, and it feels great when you pull off these amazing shots. In my opinion, Lichtspeer is a criminally underrated Nintendo Switch game, a total hidden gem. If you are at all into wave-based style arcade games where you were taking on these waves of enemies, you're gonna love this one. And Lichtspeer is currently 70% off for a measly cheap $2.99. All right, and my last personal recommendation is Super Cyborg. I actually haven't played this yet. This is the sale I'm going to pick it up on, but Super Cyborg is a Contra clone through and through. It seriously looks like it could be a direct sequel to the Contra series. It looks amazing. That same sort of run and gun action with all kinds of unique weapon alterations that you can pick up. The game plays at a silky smooth 60 frames per second, has an amazing retro look. Again, just like Contra, you can play through the whole thing with co-op. I'm definitely going with this one because of the recommendation from the retro gaming community on YouTube at large. Every YouTube channel that I've seen that has talked about this, that focuses on retro games, said this one is an absolute blast. And Super Cyborg is at its lowest price ever for 43% off for $3.98. Right, so hold tight for the scissor reel with more games. There is, again, a myriad of prices in there, but I will put the cheaper under $5 games at the beginning of the scissor reel. All right, I hope you enjoyed this deal video. Let me know down in the comments below if you're thinking of picking up any of these titles. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I hope you have great gaming, tricksters. Bye-bye.